Breaking news: Putin has created a spying nightmare for himself. The rebellion led by Prigozhin was the first marker of the cracking of the regime, as one Ukrainian intelligence source put it. Putin, the Russian president, sat at a desk in a plush room all by himself not quite 2 years ago and lectured his senior national security henchmen on why they should invade Ukraine. He made an ominous, threatening appearance. Putin's interrogation reduced one of his top intelligence chiefs, Sergei Naryshkin, to stuttering at the lectern. Naryshkin is a hardline figure who bears more than a passing resemblance to Nosferatu. Direct your comments. Putin yelled at him angrily. A devastating full-scale invasion of Ukraine was ordered by the Russian president a few hours later. As Putin's arrogance demonstrates, messiness does not always equal devotion. A lesson for all modern autocrats who are considering bossing around and degrading his most powerful officials. Putin spent years building an intricate system of security agencies and intelligence agencies to foil any potential coup against him. He was successful. However, all of it has been delayed because of the war in Ukraine, and now the chaos is coming back to haunt him. In the summer of 2023, Putin has been reduced to telling state media that he was in complete control as Wagner mercenaries led by Yevgeny Prigozhin stormed hundreds of miles of highway towards Moscow in an armored convoy, shooting down a Russian aircraft, before suddenly reversing course. It's debatable whether this was a coup or a rebellion, but either way, it was the most obvious indicator that Putin was losing control. American and Ukrainian intelligence officials have informed me that whatever is going on behind the scenes in Putin's government is embarrassing for the Russian president at best and a foreshadowing of his eventual demise at worst. One American intelligence official familiar with Russian spying activities remarked, "This whole thing looks so fucking bad on Putin." Spy agencies in Russia have reportedly been at odds with one another as of late. Historically, the Kremlin's military intelligence GRU was sympathetic to Wagner, but the main internal security service, the FSB, which is responsible for maintaining order inside Russia and for counterintelligence operations, was not. According to the same American source, the FSB are kind of a wild card in all of this, as they are involved in both counterintelligence and state security. FSB's failure to see this coming falls squarely on the FSB. Putin's well-known strategy of pitching his secret services against one another led to conflicts between the SVR, a foreign intelligence department commanded by Naryshkin, the clumsier GRU, and the FSB. This was done to prevent the three agencies from ever uniting against the Kremlin. According to reports, all three organizations have previously conducted rival operations in Ukraine, which will further weaken the country's military preparations for the impending full-scale invasion in 2022. It's quite doubtful that Prigozhin's attempts on the capital had any help from the SVR. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine began, the SVR have kinda been the black sheep of Russian intel, they added, and thus have garnered much less attention from the media. Despite all the upheaval, not many people are rooting for more coups in the wake of Prigozhin's insurrection. The same source also speculated that the West and its allies like NATO and the CIA may not be as invested in Putin's downfall as we may think. The U.S. intelligence source told me, "I think it's one of those, devil you know, situations." If Putin loses in Ukraine, some Western spies believe he may continue in power without jeopardizing global stability. Fears are mounting that whoever takes power in Russia next could be a member of the ultranationalist military extreme right, which nearly daily threatens nuclear war with Washington. Perhaps sensing a similar danger from the far right, Putin last week ordered the arrest of former FSB officer, wanted war criminal, and staunch critic of the Kremlin Igor Girkin. Probably because Girkin had once again insulted Putin after the Prigozhin affair, this time going so far as to brand him a lowlife, which resulted to his imprisonment. Intelligence officials in Britain have already warned that Girkin's detention will infuriate certain branches of the armed forces and security apparatus. Putin's decline, though, makes it smart to watch Russia struggle as long as we can, push on army tactical missile systems to Ukraine, let them turn the war. Even said, if Putin were to lose power, it wouldn't necessarily be the far right who would seize control. Part of me thinks that whoever would replace Putin would have an interest in trying to satisfy the West in some way given how terribly oligarchs and elites in Russia have suffered economically since the start of the war.